In February of 1998, a website was launched, Fiction Mania, a website that would become infamous for what it hosted. It provided a platform to upload and read erotic content focused on variations on a kink, forced feminization. From simple cross-dressing stories to complex, novel-length tales of enslavement and conditioning, Fiction Mania catered to this kink using many now infamous tropes. Anecdotal evidence confirms that part of the reader base were trans women in denial, and they used the website and the "these trannies won't fuck me, the doctor holding their healthcare hostage, so they're not women, they're perverted freaks" diagnosis, that is, autogynephilia, to convince themselves that they are not in fact trans women. A lot of these women grew up and figured out they were women. A lot of these women recognized the introduction vector that forced feminization and transgender transformation and genderbender fiction in general provides, by virtue of it often being the first time we see somebody close to us. First on TG Storytime, then on Royal Road, now on Scribblehub with itch.io releases, these women began writing stories with one goal: lure the readers that convince themselves that their identity is a fetish in with promises of featuring their kink, only to hit them with arguments for why they are, in fact, actually just girls, and that there is a way to happiness and a way to be themselves, and that they can pursue it. I should know. I wrote Deviled Egg. I'm not a bystander in this tale. I'm part of the first wave of transfem reclamation of TGTF/forced fem fiction, alongside greats like Zoe Storm and Ella Bambus. Why am I telling you all this? Because I saw the TV Glow, and it made me think of other works that tell you to transition. Spoilers for the queer psychological horror of I Saw the TV Glow, and content warning for unreality, suicide attempts, and self-harm. Now, I could tell you the production facts. I could tell you that Jane started writing it after starting HRT to get their thoughts out there. But it's not the production facts that hit you hard, it's the movie itself, how you experience it. Not to mention, there are many others focusing on it. I originally intended to have this video out earlier, but in the time that I've been scripting it, Aranok released a wonderful long-form video about I Saw the TV Glow, which covers a lot of the ground I'm covering here at the start, but does not cover my main angle of approach. So if you want the production facts, if you do want those details, go watch that video. But just like that video, I'm going to spoil the plot. I'm repeating myself. I'm going to spoil the plot, which means the twist and the ending. And I want you to go watch this movie. Trans stories deserve to be seen, and this is one of those stories that will fly over the heads of many. But as this movie is a horror drama, and it does not hold back its punches, I'm making this video as an offer to hold your hand as you prepare yourself to face it once you know what's it about. Although, with the opener, I might have primed you for a specific understanding of where it's going. It's not a fluffy egg fic. with horror elements that the protagonist overcomes, like I tried with the monsters in A Transcendent Spark. Final spoiler warning, and a repeat on the content warnings. Unreality, suicide attempts, self harm. Play the tape. The movie opens in 1996. Seventh grader Owen is watching TV, a parody of Nickelodeon, and an ad runs for the show The Pink Opaque. Shortly after at school, Owen approaches ninth grader Maddie because of the book Maddie is reading, an episode guide for The Pink Opaque. The Pink Opaque is central to the narrative of the movie and to the relationship between Owen and Maddie. The Pink Opaque is like Buffy, but seemingly toned down a bit to Power Rangers levels of acting and menace. Two girls meet at summer camp in the pilot, Isabel and Tara, and they share a psychic link, represented by glowing pink ghost tattoos on the backs of their necks. There's a figure in the moon, Mr. Melancholy, who is trying to take over the world with monsters and nightmares and sucking up all the emotions out of people, and whose design involves Melier's trip to the moon. So, once the girls leave camp and live on different sides of the county, they use their link to fight the monster of the week. The show really resonates with Owen and Maddie both, enough for Maddie to record the episodes so Owen can watch them, since Owen's parents enforms a strict bedtime that's just before the show airs, with a 2-year time skip so that Owen is in 9th grade and Maddie is in 11th. We start to see reality breaking a bit, feeling more like an episode of a TV show. I'm sure you're aware, but traditionally, TV shows about high schoolers didn't star high schoolers. There's excuses of production, of it conflicting with their schedules, of them not looking as presentable because puberty fucks with you, of rights for young actors, which is very important. I'm glad at least that was respected, but then again, I know what they did to in fucking Back to the Future when they were shooting that. Another tangent. Anyway, usually 16-year-olds would be portrayed by 20-somethings. And depending on how long a show goes for, that 20-something could be a 30-something by the time the series finale rolls around and the characters graduate. So we jump from the child actors portraying Owen and Maddie to our co-stars of Justice Smith and Brigitte Lundy Payne performing their characters and looking too grown up for a 9th grader and 11th grader. A lot can change in 2 years. Maddie knows for sure she's a lesbian, and her former best friend threw her under the bus by outing her so that she'd be welcomed into the cheerleader group. Ugh, traitor. Owen's mom, meanwhile, is dying of cancer. When Maddie comes out to Owen on the... Owen, I did it again. We don't really have W in Czech. When Maddie comes out to Owen on the bleachers in 1998, mind you, queen shit, it's because Owen asked to watch The Pink Opaque together, and Maddie thinks Owen's hitting on her. And Owen's response to Maddie asking about his sexuality is that Owen likes TV shows. That thinking about it hurts, as if his guts were ripped out and his insides stuffed with something else. But he's too scared to check what that is. This is one of the hints at what's wrong, as well as a feeling many trans people know deeply. You can't face your sexuality when your gender is this gaping void you need to dive into and fill out. Is your asexuality genuine asexuality, or simply gender dysphoria getting in the way of you wanting to use your body in such a way and to have your body seen as something capable of performing such acts? What if you're a bi or a lesbian and your attraction to women hurts you because you can't imagine yourself being with them as a man, but you know that's what's expected of you? It fucks you up. So you retreat into escapist media. Music, movies, books, comics, games, anything and everything to fill the time and the dead air so you don't have to address or think about what it is you're ignoring. This escapism can lead to very dark places, depending on what you're escaping with and what communities it leads you to. Or it can eventually lead to a community that helps you figure shit out. But until you do, you don't like boys or girls, or none. You like TV shows. Jane's been really fucking smart writing this picture to include all that text that those who don't know the experience would read as subtext, when it's hitting them in the face like a down with cis bus. Continuing on with the plot. When the two do watch the show together once more after a long time, Maddie cries because of what it represents and declares her intention to run away from home. She invites Owen along and has the most tender and intimate moment in the picture. And it's drawing the pink opaque ghost symbol on Owen's neck in a pink glitter gel pen. And Jane, can we fade to black? This feels too intimate and personal. Jane. Guess not. Owen chickens out. Maddie disappears without a trace. A burning TV set in the backyard, the only clue. There's another time skip. Owen's working at a movie theater nearly a decade later and starts seeing oddities. A downed power line with pages from the pink opaque episode guide thrown around with a page describing Season 6, Episode 1, Escape from the Midnight Realm. The show ended at 5 seasons, cancelled right after Maddie disappeared. But now, Maddie is standing in the middle of the grocery store just holding a slab of meat in hand, radiating trans joy. I'm stealing that joke, Aronok. It was excellent. She asks Owen to go talk with her somewhere private, and they go to the double lunch. The double lunch is mentioned right at the start as the place that two bands perform music each episode as a double feature. The episode guide talks about the bands featured and the song they performed, and While Owen and Maddie talk at the double lunch, we do get two bands performing at, you know, what is ostensibly the real life double lunch that was featured in the show. And it is at the movie's midpoint, which further crosses over the structure of an episode of The Pink Opaque with reality. And the songs slap. Claw Machine and Psychic Wound perfectly represent the two characters from the in-universe show tonally. Claw Machine being a slow ballad that feels like a theme for Isabel, while Psychic Wound is fit for Tara. And the moment they swap during the conversation also helps shift your impression from two friends reconnecting who haven't seen each other in a decade to, oh shit. Right, the conversation. After quickly catching up, Maddie prods Owen about memories of them watching the show together. If there's gaps or confusion about what was watched and what was experienced. If time is moving weirdly, too fast. If Owen narrates his life detached like an observer, which he does. The whole movie, from the start, has been narrated by Owen. It opens, besides the sitting in front of the TV, like a fucking reunion set of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Just with a single cast member present, alone and isolated after the events of this reunion. Not yet though. Not yet. We see flashbacks to what they did together, including the only tiny smile Owen gives. When was that? When they got to wear a dress, and Maddie thought they looked pretty in it. Enough to look bashful looking at them. This is where the psychological horror kicks in. Up until now, it was a teen drama about a TV show connecting two people until one disappears, but now we are shown the finale of season 5 of The Pink Opaque. Hoping to defeat Mr. Melancholy, the two girls decide to go back to the camp they met at in the pilot. But their attempt is thwarted. Mr. Melancholy's lackeys, Marco and Polo, cut out the still beating hearts of the two girls, feed them the concoction that sends them to the nightmarish Midnight Realm, bury them alive. And the Midnight Realm? Isabel is teased with using a snow globe? Is the opening shot of the movie of Owen watching the TV as an ad for the Pink Opaque comes on. This makes Justice's character break down and break a TV with their head while there's an epilepsy seizure inducing a series of flashing lights on screen. That's why I'm not playing that a bit. They're weeping and crying because Justice's character is Isabel. I'm going to use the Pink Opaque names going forward. Tara invites Isabel to their high school, where she proceeds to tell of her experiences after disappearing in an amazing monologue with the backdrop of a projected star show. Going to a faraway town, still feeling disconnected and lost, knowing about the season finale, deciding to get buried alive, see what it would do. After pissing and shitting herself, what it did was bring her back to the real world of the show. She found her and Isabel's hearts, but she decided to return to the Midnight Realm to try and break Isabel out. The same way she broke out, by burying herself alive. Once more, Isabel runs away in fear, and Tara disappears. Isabel's dad dies, having only had a single line in the movie, "Isn't that a show for girls?" and the rest of the time just staring. She inherits the house, changes jobs because the movie theater shut down, gets married, has kids, according to her, but we don't see said wife and kids. Isabel is shown alone. With the Pink Opaque on streaming, she watches it again, and it's even more of a Power Rangers level goofiness show. This was aired at 10:30 p.m. before the channel switched to reruns of old black and white shows. This? You should sell soup and winter ice cream, man, so you don't have to leave. Aired at 10:30 p.m. at 8 a.m. at Saturday show with 4 p.m. on weekdays reruns? That's what was supposed to have aired at 10:30 p.m.? Here, after 10 p.m., you can show cock and balls and murder on TV. You can air Nightmare on Elm Street 2, The Terminator, Death Becomes Her. Sorry for the tangents, but it's such a blatant fabrication, such a blatant gaslighting from Mr. Melancholy, it's ridiculous. The final time skip is 20 years. Isabel is wheezing as if suffocating, running out of air. She has a breakdown about dying, and all the other actors in the shot just stop and freeze. Not even a weird stare of concern, just complete detachment. Puppets with their puppeteer away on a piss break. She finally musters up the courage to cut herself open and check what's inside her. Quite literally, with a box cutter. It's TV glow. Then she just goes back to work, seemingly keeping up the role of husband, father, and employee. The credits roll. And you, as a trans person, either out to yourself or closeted, maybe even an egg, sit there and are given a choice given to eggs. Will you risk it all and break the shell, or will you suffocate like the chicks who can't hatch? The reason I opened up this video with an abridged history of reclaimed force fanfiction is because I saw that TV glow is in effect, in execution, and Egg Fic. Now let's get into the fuller history of Egg Fics, knowing what the TV glow's about, and the idea of them. The start of the current boom, at least as far as I'd consider it, can be traced back to Xander Van Chestine releasing Squidmate, a light novel with a much longer name that I'm not going to spell out or say out loud. That's based on a funny Splatoon 2 poster she drew of an inkling in a maid outfit. In the story, the player's consciousness gets transported into the game as an inkling, and they get hired as a maid to clean up the arena's turf wars happening. As the story progresses, our protagonist figures out they like being a girl, and that it was what was missing from their life. So, as a copy of the original, as it turns out she sends her out-of-game self a message to encourage herself to transition. Cute, neat, simple. This led to the Light November event, a lower stakes version of National November Writing Month, and where a lot of other authors, including myself, workshopped stories. From this community came the Secret TG Writing Lair Discord, a writer space for authors of Egg Fics. With this setup, we began producing works and uploading them onto TG Storytime, one of the classic sites for ForceFem and TGTF fiction that was just above Fiction Mania in quality, let's be honest. It was an offspring, one could say, which was managed by one Johnny Sixpack, an author himself. And the irony of the name, considering his output, is not lost on me. However, the site was not ideal for posting these stories, as the tagging system did not allow us to declare it as Egg Fic. This was addressed sometime later, but what also happened sometime later was the introduction of another user of the site, whose writing quality was bad, who posted new chapters of stories not as chapters, but as completely new stories, thus clogging up the new releases tab on the front page, who had English as their second language, and politics that are, well, on the level of right-wingers in the US. And so we, as the majority users, asked Johnny to step in and do his job as site admin to deal with this troll. He didn't. So we moved to Royal Road, a website more focused on isekai webfics, isekai being the word for another world in Japanese and is used as a genre term for portal fantasy, as the Western term is known as. This happened during the sub-boom of the Kamiverse, an attempt at a shared setting which went out of hand because the main author could not keep a hold on lore between the contributors, so it fell apart. I myself contributed a mouse to the circuitry, being the first to write in Europe in such setting, and also right at the start. And the lead author, having to approach me to go, hey, you doing this kind of fucks with future reveals, so you're gonna need to fix it. See what I mean about her not keeping a hold on the lore between the contributors? Royal Road mods were not good about trolls on their side. Let's summarize it that way. The trolls were quite bad, and that resulted in our final migration to ScribbleHub, which does have a good tagging system and a solid moderation team. And Egg Fic dominated the website so much for a time that we were always on the front page in the top 10 most read, most favorited, most rated fics, which forced the mods to address how the top 10 is calculated to make it more fair. And while an interpersonal conflict that I'm not gonna cover in this video, but I'm not gonna hide from it, got me kicked out of the writing lair back in 2021, which all around burned me out of writing anything but the scripts that talk about the stories of others. Said stories of others do continue to be written and published. I still haven't really established the traits of an Egg Fic, and well, taxonomy is a bitch to deal with. Ray is cereal soup, and is a hot dog a sandwich? What the fuck's a Metroidvania? What the fuck's a roguelite? You get me. But let me try all the same using some common traits, the most common traits. Trait 1. Our protagonist starts the story believing themselves to be male. Trait 2. Our protagonist is presented with a traditional gender bender premise, which is either fully embraced or subverted. Stuff like having to be a replacement model for girl clothes because they fit, using nanobots to turn into a girl as a date for a friend being invited to a Mormon wedding. That one's real, by the way. Stuff like getting hit with a spell that makes them a girl, which is extremely generic. The one that's real is a dude picking up a book of spells and trying to transform their roommate into their girlfriend, but the roommate tosses the book at at the spellcaster before the mind wipe is cast. So they have the body, but they haven't lost their identity to the spell. That's another real one. I'm gonna put the posters on screen, or well, the covers on screen for those stories if they have one. If I can dig them up, I hope so. Another classic one, getting transported to another world with another body there. For that, I can suggest my girlfriend's output of the Selene series, which is currently on the 4th and final book, Sovereign of Selene. And the last classical one is like having to hide their identity for whatever reason. Stuff like that. You get the idea. Trait 3. Trait 3. Still don't have quest controllers. Or still don't have index controllers. Patreon.com/KateAngel, which, please, I beg of you. Through trials and tribulations related to the situation, the protagonist comes to the conclusion they were a trans woman to begin with, and that the hijinks that bent their gender were only a catalyst to that realization. Think like asking a genie to make you a girl, and they say you already are. So you get a bucket of water to douse that fire spirit for being a cheeky piece of shit and knowing exactly what you mean. In most stories, the conclusion leads to the protagonist coming out to themselves and their community. If they got physically transformed through a spell, they stop looking for a way to reverse it or start looking for a way to make it permanent. If they cross-dressed, they start HRT. This is the good end. If executed right, it should make the egg reader see themselves in the character and understand that even though they might not have access to the same magic as the character, them wanting it makes them trans. Outside of these 3 traits, the tone can be whatever, the setting can be whatever, the length can be whatever, as long as these 3 traits are intentionally present, i.e. egg protag going through it until they figure out they're a girl, you got an egg fic. And I saw the TV glow fits these. Isabel starts thinking she's Owen. The genderbender situation is effectively her getting Princess Osmond into Owen by Mr. Melancholy, which counts as one of the most classic forms this can take. How the hell did you stumble into making a trans lesbian bomb, you old fuck? And the movie, although ending the way it does, did have a longer ending of Isabel picking up speed and running into the glow, which Jane cut short, making a much more powerful ending, with it being obvious that when Isabel sees the glow in her chest, she knows she's trans, she can't ignore it any longer. But you can read it as her doing, making it a bad and egg fic. But tonally, it's a good end fic. Still, in a comment on someone else's video of the movie, I likened it to the end of Evangelion, in the way it treats the audience, I guess you could say. I haven't watched Evangelion yet. The closest I've gotten to it is the Tenacious D IMVs plus watching Gundam to know the genre it is part of. And most importantly, Ruby Codex entries to Evangelion essays, which honestly provide me with all the important context of what happened during its production and reception and why I'm bringing it up. The original ending of Evangelion was positive. There was hope there. Go touch grass, it's beautiful outside, you can connect with others even as a weirdo otaku, which fits with my run of Egg Fic. But those weirdo otaku were entitled digheads who cared about waifus first and completely ignored the beautiful message. During the production of the compilation movie of Evangelion, Gainax got a lot of mail. Some of it positive. Wait, way more of a negative. Hate mail and death threats. And so, Anna went, never fucking mind then. You are all tar pits, sucking everything down to your level. You want to know why nobody cares about you? It's because you'll stand over a seemingly comatose girl you feel entitled to and proceed to. I am too small to at the same time risk and not risk finishing that statement. If you know Eva, you know what I'm alluding to. The point stands. Instead of the hopeful ending of the original, you get the accusatory finger pointed your way. Is this you? In big bold letters, the colors of Gynax's logo. What nails the comparison home is the fact that the only time Shinji is depicted as happy is when Shinji is presenting Femme. The tar pit Shinji is in End of Evangelion is the endpoint of a 4chan rotten egg. The belief that nobody can love Shinji because Shinji hates themselves so much, and they're making damn sure nobody can love them in End of Evangelion, even though they demand it of those around them, which in itself is a self-destructive act to ensure their understanding of themselves as a tar pit remains. Isabel and I Saw the TV Glow is thankfully not at that level. Isabel instead is a coward. Given a hand to hold, to follow, but she needs to grab it. And when she doesn't, a second time, she's given up on. She has to be the one to pick herself up without help, which is very hard, but doable. Tara tried. You can see the heartbreak when Isabel pushes her away and books it. The understanding that the repression is too strong, that Isabel can't be hatched by outside forces. The option was given, now it's all up to her. Jane wanted the story to go this way, and it needed to go this way, because if it hadn't, there would have been no point. Isabel starts transitioning in the final frame of the picture, too hopeful, too conclusive, lets the audience go, "Couldn't be me," and responds. Isabel apologizes for a freakout with nobody reacting at all because the puppeteer turned the puppets off when Isabel screamed about dying. Forces the audience to think, to feel like shit. Not me though. I Saw the TV Glow found me at a point with my relationship with gender that I could withstand it. I have seen stubborn dense eggs and other stories. I know how to write eggs that refuse everything offered to hatch them. I am self-assured in my gender. What I have to deal with is isolation and socioeconomic troubles and probably schizophrenia making executive functioning worse than it already is from my ADHD and autism. Lovely cocktail, wouldn't you say? And I've never been Isabel. I hatched early, I existed as myself online, I got HRT pretty young. I know you don't want to admit it, but 21 is fucking baby years. That's college age. That's legally able to drink in the US age. That all shielded me from the impact of I Saw the TV Glow in ways that others weren't. Instead of getting a gut punch telling me to transition, I felt, yo, TV production references. The movie is structured like an episode. God damn, the songs are good. God damn it, Isabel. Oh no, Isabel. But there is, admittedly, another piece of trans fiction with an ending as open as I Saw the TV Glow, which does fuck up my entire day just thinking about it, meaning I can never read it. That work is The Transition Baby. Quick summary tangent about The Transition Baby, and spoilers, obviously. Two trans women have a messy breakup because one of them, the one that helped the other start transitioning, can't help but affirm her gender by fucking married men, and one of the married men decided to deck her girlfriend in the face when said girlfriend walked in on the cheating girlfriend. This made said girlfriend, the decked one, give up on presenting femme in an attempt to distance herself from her ex, as her womanhood was extremely tied up in that relationship, and she outright detransitions. The detransitioned ex gets their boss pregnant, and the boss wants to bring the cheating ex in as another mom because of career reasons. The book has a lot of takes applicable to trans women living in major population centers in the US with a liberal lean, and ends with the possibility of a detransitioner retransitioning, as she didn't detransition because she's cis, but because her pillar of strength and comfort, her role model and guide, failed her. Plus, the possibility of the baby either being aborted or kept is on the table, so that's two things. Transition, abort. Very different conflicts, but the book ends open. And again, you have to sit there and allow both yourself and the detransitioner the grace to transition and be yourself. And that's the impact it has for eggs. I've talked about the term egg before. It's based on a pun that chicks hatch from eggs, making egg a trans person unaware of their transness or in denial of said transness, and that it's a fine term, and being called an egg is an honor if you can get over that trans misogynist hell telling you being a trans woman is the worst state imaginable. The thing these works do is a kick in the ass. In contrast to the Egg Fic I wrote, and my contemporaries still write, wherein we're gentle but direct in our approach, these works recreate the pill scene from The Matrix, except the two options presented are transition or die, without any ambiguity between them. And again, it's up to you to decide if you will grant the protagonist and yourself the grace of self actualization, or if you will let yourself be buried alive by the role forced on you and suffocate, dying a slow death of 1,000 cuts. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that need that kick in the ass, but at the same time, there are those that will get terrified and repress even harder. But getting the works that would help the group get the reach the need is hard. I can't help but think how many people would be comforted and come to accept themselves if Deviled Egg had a bigger reach. The members of the secret TG writing lair, both former and current, got the recognition we deserve, and through that helped more people. I know for a fact there's hundreds of people who need those stories, but will never find them.
Hi, I'm actually someone who did need those stories, and I was fortunate enough to find them. I know what it's like to live for nothing but a slim hope of a brighter future, and I know what it's like to have dysphoria crushing your ambitions before they even start. And escapism, in all the forms it takes, is why I'm alive today. I remember barely holding on in a home that hated me, and taking refuge in a nice egg fic, often written by Katie herself. And I know that escapism is often necessary. I'm speaking to you from this game right now because it's another place I found reprieve, and I want to celebrate that. Everything about I Saw the TV Glow is made to peer at escapism through a different lens. An escape not just from reality, from being imprisoned when you can't even see the bars of your cell. These works are important precisely because they help people see how much better life could be. You don't get superpowers, but you can get a better life if you can see the bars and try to break them. It'll be hard, but it'll be worth it. Whatever metaphor you use, if it's a prison cell or an eggshell, there's no shame in having help to get you out. Escapism may be fantasy, but escaping can be your reality if you make it. What do you have to lose?
Right. Thanks, Rain, for your contribution to the video, and thank you for being a reader. And I'm glad that my works did help you out when you needed them to. I saw the TV glow as big, though. There's videos about it online, analyzing it, reviewing it, talking about it. These people trying to explain and discuss it without really getting it. And those analyses, well, I haven't seen any of them, but I saw the TV glow in the context of Egg Fic. And again, I would argue it is. And it's Egg Fic not just because our protagonist represses, not just because of the traits outlined above, but because of one specific shot that exists like the mirror for the audience. The moment my brand of Egg Fic has, where the protagonist takes a long, hard look at themselves and admits their feelings and spells out for the audience, if you feel this, you're trans too, take the fucking estrogen, girl. The shot? It's of chalk drawings on the road in the suburbs. They clearly state there is still time. And there is. No matter how old you are, how hopeless you think it is, if you're worried you'll be ugly or not accepted, there is still time. There's still hope, even in the current climate. You might not fit beauty standards, but the confidence you can get from being yourself outshines that, and that confidence will bring in people that accept you and love you for you and will stand by you and protect you and look out for you. So dig yourself out of your shallow grave and go find your heart. Thanks for watching. This took too long. This took too long to make. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for having gone offline for so long without actually providing a proper video essay with a proper script and posting just a couple of streams, which I didn't even keep going because I ran out of stream materials and ran out of time to stream and couldn't schedule it. Work has been killing me. Downright killing me. My atopic eczema, which is, genetic eczema, it got so bad because of work, because of all the stress from it. And I mean, you heard what I said about 12-hour night guard shifts in the This Time for Torture video. You heard all that. So that's what I've been dealing with. And now, that place has, I practically lost my job. Not lost, but I need to find another place of employment because I cannot physically handle the only position they have available for me at the current job. Which is why I'm still incredibly thankful to the patrons that support me. Unfortunately, because it's been so long without any uploads, with me ghosting everybody without me saying anything on Patreon, unlike the people that do this professionally, unlike people who manage themselves, who get themselves teams to help out, who have others to push them forward to work on it. I've been a solo team except for Nova, and we're both in pretty shit mental health situations, socioeconomic situations for me. I've talked about it in the video. In this video, I saw the TV Glow's gender theme did not hit me as hard because I am not dealing with that shit. I'm 28. I've been on HRT since I was 21. That's 7 years. You know the factoid that all your cells get replaced every 7 years? Yeah, that means that all my cells from when I was 14 to 21, those were still under testosterone, the little I had of it. Now, it's all been estrogen. That's why I wasn't impacted by that. But the socioeconomic situation, yeah, that's fucking me up big time. So, hopefully we can make more of these videos. And hopefully I reach a wider audience that will appreciate what I'm doing. Considering I'm currently officially on sick leave from work while I job hunt, it's a bit of a loophole. Don't tell anyone. I am sorry, I am desperate, desperate to get more patrons to support me, either on Patreon or on Coffee, because Coffee also lets you do monthly support, and I appreciate Madison and uh, yeah, Lem, Millennium Bug, who support me over there. Appreciate them really greatly for supporting me on Coffee. And then there's the people who support me on Patreon that I need to thank. So usually I only read the $20 and $10 people, but I need to shout out everybody who's stuck through with me for now. So I'm going to read the names of everybody $5 and up. Right? Or actually, there's such a small amount, I'm going to read everybody out. So from the top, thank you, Aurora. Thank you, Ginger. Thank you, Critter System, Alicia, Glint Eastwood, Jamie, Kylie the Healer Witch, Malumat, Mtron, Nicole Bacon, Woodsy13, Aaron Maguire, Grace Foley, Hazel, Julie Peeleth, Chromaek, also known as Luna, M. Luchai, Natalie Ironside, Princess Choo Choo, Rude Fake, Violet Rose in the Dark, Blubbo1, Lilith Schwartz, May, Purple Cat Girl, and Rilne Kitsune. Thank you all so much for your support, long-time support. I don't know what I would do without all of you. I understand why you've lessened your pledges, and I completely understand why people have left, because I haven't been doing anything worth spending money on. But that will, I hope, change. I thank you greatly for watching this video. This video, again, took so long to produce because of work, because of mental health reasons. I started scripting it like September, or, well, actually, no, August. I hope to have it done by the end of October. There was a whole ass kind of bad joke, so I'm glad I cut it now, about counties not even being that big, and then the USA being big, and Biden returning Hawaii to the Hawaiians. Simpler times, eh? Hey, at least at least we're gonna see the collapse of the empire, and and he's building the nation. Europe is gonna be besties with China. Hooray! Cheap vehicles for all. Maybe I'll get SD Gundams through China thanks to his fumbling, because they're doing allyship with Japan. Maybe we'll get P-Bandai here at last, because of Comrade Nation Builder, that orange Cheeto. With the fucking skunk on his head. No, sorry, that's an insult to skunk. Bro's got the fucking grass on his head. And his cronies. I remember you before the hair implants, Elon, you loser. Nobody will ever love you. Nobody likes you. All you have is money. I wish that kid who pushed you down the stairs had pushed you a little bit harder. Right. Hopefully that doesn't get me kicked off YouTube like Anna. I'm too small for that. Still, I hope to see you next time, and another reason why I'm releasing this now is as a bit of an announcement. For Trans Day of Visibility this year, 2025, I'm gonna be doing a full stream, a full Let's Play, a full playthrough of Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, because that is a very transgender game, and it's my favorite musical. So, once more, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. I'll hopefully see you on stream if you decide to show by. Have a good one.